All right, so this was all straight off of your reference table, page 1. Mr. D showed it to you yesterday, so hopefully it wasn't too bad. I like to say this is the easiest to read reference table because it's literally just finding the answers off there. But everybody forgets it's there. So I like to say if it just seems like a question that if you typed it into Google, if you typed blank is the most abundant element in the Earth's hydrosphere into Google, it would pop up and you wouldn't even have to click a link. It'd be one of those summaries at the top. If that is ever the case where it's so easy, Google would just spit it back out at you, that means the answer's in your reference table. Your reference table reminds me of like a paper copy of Google for earth science. If you had to Google the most abundant element in the hydrosphere, you would type that into Google and it would pop up as hydrogen without you even thinking. So if it seems like a question Google would answer for you, grab your reference table and just start searching through it. Let's go, you guys, let's do it around the room. Let's start with you in the back. Alex, chemical symbol for calcium. Yep. So, sorry, wrong, Alex. It's all right. You're both in the back. He's just way in the back. I just want to mention, we don't talk too much about periodic elements and stuff like that. Anything they ask you about for elements, which hopefully you guys remember that periodic table over there. I think you did that in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. You don't need to know most of the stuff on there this year. Anything you need to know, they'll give you here. My big concern is you have to write it exactly the way it's written there. So the capital C, lowercase a. Even if you're one of those people that write in all capitals, you still have to change this to a lowercase a. All right, moving on. All right, now other Alex. What's the answer to number 3? In the Earth's crust, what's the percentage of magnesium by volume? Perfect. Trenton, name the ways which the information in the crust is categorized. Whoa, yes. By mass. So that should be percent by mass and percent by volume. Olivia, how about name the element that can be found in the crust, hydrosphere, and troposphere? You got it. You could have written it out as oxygen, or you could have just said O. Either one's good with me. Jenna, what is the percentage of iron in the Earth's crust by volume? And what is the most abundant element, Allison, in the troposphere? That is nitrogen. And what is the percentage of aluminum in the Earth's crust by mass, Sam? 8.23. And the 2 most abundant elements in the crust by mass, Brooklyn? Perfect. Phoenix, name the 2 most and by the way, you could have switched those. I don't care what order you put them in.
Oxygen, 94.04, and potassium, 1.42.
And name the 2 elements that compose the hydrosphere, Drake.
Oxygen.
No, I'm going to ask, did you guys struggle with the whole density stuff? No. Is that a lot? Oh, good. Good. So you did go over it. So what you should have, did anybody have like the gut instinct to look through your reference table to look for the densities? Yeah, because that would be a question that Google could answer for you. So I do understand that. The density of the hydrosphere and the density of the atmosphere and lithosphere aren't in there, just flat out aren't in there. So it is something you kind of got to think of. Now, I'm not asking what is the density. I'm just asking you to put them in order from least to most. And I think the easiest way to do that is instead of thinking of hydrosphere, atmosphere, and lithosphere, I think you should think of those in easier to understand terms. What is the hydrosphere in easy to understand words? It is water. The hydrosphere is water. What's the atmosphere? Air. And the lithosphere? Ground, or I just think of rocks. Ground is fine. That's what you said, right? Yep. So that's how I think of them. And by doing that, now I'm thinking of stuff I'm used to touching, I'm used to holding, I'm used to thinking about. So let's picture a fish tank. And I'm going to put some water, air, and rocks in there. What do I know happens with any of those? If I dump some rocks in a fish tank, where are they going? The bottom. So here we have rocks. Well, that's rocks. What if I had air? Air bubbles, where are they going? Okay, air bubbles float at the top. And where's the water? Water. Why is it lined up like that? What? Air is less dense than water. Water's less dense than rocks. So water sink or rocks sink to the bottom because they're the most dense. Air stays at the top because it's the least dense. Water's in between. Now I do want you to go and put the real words there. Atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. So sometimes you do have to take some pretty basic information and then just think about it a little bit. I'll give you the hint right now. You better know that question. You better understand it. Guys, that you also haven't learned this about me, but I can't wink. So I am going to tell you, you better know that because it's going to be on the test. I would wink right now if I could, but I can't. So what I'm trying to say is know it, learn it, understand it. It's a basic concept. You guys get water, air, and rocks. It's not just something you have to memorize. Just think about them in basic terms. You can do that all year. Instead of thinking about these crazy earth science words, replace those words in your head. Anytime you hear something about hydrosphere, think water. Okay. How about this next one? Thanks, Remy. Oh, you do have a question. You were next too, so.
Are you able to close one of your eyes and keep the other one open?
No. Can't do, I'm gonna do this. This is as close as I can get to winking, but I have to do this weird thing with my face to do it.
Okay.
Yep.
Blink with both eyes.
Well, I can blink with both eyes, yeah.
What about wink with both eyes?
Yep.
Okay, now just do that with one eye.
Yeah, uh-huh. Am I doing it?
Yep.
Okay, but like I said, I gotta do that weird thing with my face to do it. My mom and my daughter can go blink, 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 and I can't. Whatever, moving on. They're also weird and left-handed. Any of you guys weird left-handed people?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of you. I actually feel really bad for you guys. You guys have it really rough in life, and I am not being sarcastic. I did not know how hard it was for you guys to do things until my daughter was doing it. I thought my mom was always just complaining. Till I gave my daughter a pair of scissors. I'm like, here, cut this. And it was like she couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you cut? And it turns out it's not her, it was the scissors. Like she was like a genius in nursery school, but yet couldn't cut. I'm like, what is wrong with you? It was the scissors. So I feel bad for you guys. But you guys are like extra because you can then do so many things with your right hand that we cannot do with our left hand. So great job, guys.
Yeah, another thing I saw too is when you write.
Yeah.
Your fingers.
Yep. Smeared. And I see so many of you guys write like this to avoid the smear. And that looks uncomfortable. So I feel you. Not for real, but
That's the second time.
yeah, Phoenix, just put it on your desk. Turn it over. I don't want you to break your phone. Because speaking of my daughter, I got a crying phone call yesterday or 2 days ago because she broke her phone. It was a disaster. So don't do that because I don't want you to call your mom and cry.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. What's the percentage of calcium in the Earth's crust, Remy?
4.15.
That is what I got. Wow, we just wasted a lot of time. That's cool. That's cool. Landon, you got, ooh, this was a tough one. Did you get it? It is oxygen. How many people struggled with that one? It was just the wording. It says when comparing the percent by mass and the percent by volume in the Earth's crust, which one has a lower percent by mass? So they wanted you to look at these two columns and just see which one had the lower percent by mass than percent by volume. And it is oxygen. It's the only one. Oxygen has less mass than it does volume. Everybody else, the mass is higher than their volume. And actually the next question, Chris, name the only element found in the crust that has a higher percent by volume than by mass. Okay, so it's the same question, just worded differently. And I wanted to do that on purpose, just to show you how I can change up the question just a little and it changed the whole answer. So oxygen has a higher percent by volume than by mass. Questions on any of those? No. All right. That was everybody. Let's kick it up a notch here. Go slightly faster with the rest of them then. I got 18.01 for number 16. You had to add those together. 17, nitrogen and hydrogen are the only ones not found in the crust. Silicon and oxygen combined, that's 74.3. And by volume, 94.92. And then they're all false, except for number 21, that's true. Any questions on these ones that I just went a little faster on? What was that? No. Anybody else? Phoenix says no. Anybody else need me to go over any? No, thanks. I have my hopes up that you wanted me to like go over something. Page 10, I mean. Page 10 is where we left off on Tuesday. And I get that latitude and longitude using minutes was stressing some people out. Later in the day, I actually like stumbled upon a slightly easier explanation that might help some of you guys. So I do want to go over the latitude and longitude in minutes again, just real quick, not spending the whole period again, but just so that you kind of get a little bit of a hang of how to do the minutes stuff. So we talked about how it's like a clock, and then that kind of confused people, especially since the clock is a circle. So instead of talking about the clock completely, the clock's like a number line, isn't it? Just goes in a circle. What number does the clock start at in minutes? 1 or 0. Okay, yeah. So if we start at 0 and it goes all the way around, what does it end at? Yep. So it starts at 0 and goes to 60. If I made this into a number line that started at 0 and went to 60, so I could have a horizontal number line, or I could have a vertical number line that starts at 0 and goes up to 60. On this number line, if I marked off like right here on this number line, what number would you give it? 50, maybe 55, maybe something around there. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Same with what if I put right there? What number would you give that? 30. Did you say 33? Yeah. By the way, just to make your lives easier, I'm good if you guys just go in 5 increments. So you don't have to do the 33, but you could. Either way, it's fine. The only thing that's weird here, well, actually, so the latitude works exactly like the up and down number line. So like when we did Buffalo here, here's 0 on the number line, there's 60. Halfway would be 30 on the number line. So Buffalo, if we followed that over, what would you give Buffalo's number on that number line, 0 to 60? 50? Maybe a 55. Either one of those is perfectly acceptable. Now with the latitude, I keep messing this up. No wonder you guys don't get it. With the longitude, which are the vertical lines, the ones going up and down. Is Buffalo, here's 79, 78. The only weird thing with this is the number line, instead of going left to right, because the smaller numbers are over here on the right, they go right to left. So this would be your 0, and this would be your 60. I can just put them up here too. So since Buffalo's almost to the 60, what number again would you give Buffalo's longitude then? Buffalo's longitude. If here's 0, here's 60, what would we say? $55, $56, $57, $58, $59, yeah. Any of those work. How about, let's start the top of this. So we did this one, which I know we already did. Let's do Watertown. I have Watertown right here, already marked off. So Watertown was right here. The dot is right there. Do latitude first, the flat lines first. What whole degree did you give Buffalo, first of all? What's the first part of that? Or not Buffalo, Watertown. Yep. So here's 43. Here's 44, so it didn't quite make the 4, so we're 43 something. Again, if this was a number line down here, the 43 is the 0, the 44 is the 60. What number do you want to give Watertown? 0 to 60, how close is it?
60.
You think it's on the 60?
I said 59.
Okay, mine is not. Was yours right on the line?
I don't know about it.
So we can't just say it's 60. Would the Regents accept it? Yes, probably. But it is just below the 60. So I also would have said 59. So I would have said for Watertown, 43 degrees, 59 minutes. What's the label? Yes. Latitude in New York is always going to be north. Same deal with the longitude. If here's 75, there's 76. How many minutes do you want to give it? Yeah, that works for me. Whole degree, because it's between 75 and 76, it's 75 degrees, 57 minutes west again. Do you guys feel comfortable-ish with this stuff? All right, so then I guess we could go through the same way. So for Elmira, what you guys have? Who just shout it out? I said 5. The direction said you could have been within 10 degrees, 10 minutes of mine. So they don't have to be perfectly dead on. Somebody else, give me the longitude. I'll call on you. That I had, and don't forget west. How about Slide Mount? Guys, I saw your answers. You had something written down. All right, I'll go around the room. Would you have Brooklyn for Slide Mount for the latitude? You said 10? So for me, and it could have just been the way you drew the lines. For me, it was right on. Yeah, so it's okay to be 0 if you were 0. And that just might be a little squiggle of your latitude line. How about Phoenix? What'd you have for the longitude of Slide Mount?
70 degrees.
70.
Yeah, or yeah.
70 is not even on the map. So here,
It's 76 on that. 76.
for Slide Mount.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess let's look at that. And I did not draw my line. So there is 74. There's 75. So what's our whole number? If 74 is there, 75 is there. Nope, 75 is here. So we're in between 74 and 75. So 74 is the beginning number. And if this was the 0 and here's the 60, what do you want to estimate slide mount at right there? How many minutes? Yep. So if this is the number line, it's going this way. Here's 0, here's 60. How many minutes would that be then? Yeah. I would say I said 25, but your 30 is perfect. So they will give you some wiggle room. Drake, do you get Mount Marcy way up here, or do you want to walk through it? Yeah, latitude first.
I got 44.
Yeah, so not quite right on 44. It's a little above. So I agree with 44 degrees and 5 minutes north. Now, if you just put a 5, that's okay. Just make sure your minutes does not look like a 0 then after it. So if you just, instead of doing 0.5, you just did 5, make sure it really looks like 5 and not 50. Okay. Remy, did you get the longitude for Mount Marcy?
73, 59.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had. 73 degrees, 59 minutes west. Landon, did you get to Messina? Yep, almost to 55 or 45. Chris, let's do the longitude for Messina. It's way up here, almost in Canada. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I've always heard it pronounced Messina, but other people have pronounced it other ways, but I think it's kind of like Java. Yeah. Got it, guys. Is it right on the 75 line? Nope. It's a little bit before it. So it's 74 something. And so Chris, if you thought of this on the number line right here as 0, and then right here at the 75 is 60, that works. Yep. Plattsburgh, also practically Canada. What'd you get, Alex? S. Yeah. Let's do it. All right, here's Plattsburgh. Let's do the latitude first. Here's 44. Here's 45.
44.
It's 44. And how many minutes? Again, if we think, how many?
45.
Yeah, so here's 0. Here's 60. Halfway. Here's 30. So I'd say we're darn near close to 45. So you said 44 degrees, 45 minutes north. Olivia, did you have Platts, or even if you don't have it, you're gonna have it, the longitude for Plattsburgh? Yep, I said 73.25. Either one is good with me. Jenna, do you have Riverheads? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Allison. Yeah, with Riverhead, I do think people did not see where the dot for Riverhead was. The dot for Riverhead is right after the word, Riverhead. So if here's 72 and there's 73, we're 72 and you said 40. Yep, I had 35, so that works. But I saw a lot of people have that one wrong because I think you thought the dot was before Riverhead. So if you said 73 something for Riverhead, that's probably what went wrong. The last one that I told you to skip is the mouth of the Niagara River. So first thing you had to do is find the Niagara River. Let me get one that I haven't already written on. All right, here is the Niagara River right here. It connects Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. And you need to know a couple things about rivers. First of all, do you know what it means to be the mouth of a river? What is the mouth of a river? It is the end It seems kind of weird because sometimes we think of the mouth as where things begin, like if you're eating, your mouth is where things begin. But there are no buts of rivers. So with food, you eat with your mouth and well, it ends in butt, but that's beside the point. But I like to think of rivers like words. And this actually might be news to you. Where do your words start? Nah, before that. Good. I like it. Phoenix, you must have had this talk with somebody before. Your words should start in your brain. If they're not, you should. Just saying. And we all have that problem when the words actually start at our mouth and we end up saying something we shouldn't have said. So your brain, your words start in your head and they exit your mouth. The rivers work the same way. The head of the river is where the river starts, like up in the mountains or up somewhere high in elevation. And then where they empty out, where they end, that's their mouth. So rivers are like words. So we're looking for where the Niagara River ends. So like I said, the Niagara River connects Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. It's right there. So those are two different spots. We either have here or here. So the next part is deciding, well, which way is the Niagara River flowing? So figure this out. Pinch, you might need to use your reference table. Which way is the Niagara River flowing? Did you figure it out? You think so? You think you figured it out? You give everybody a chance to think a little harder. Give everybody some time to let this information sink in. If you can't tell, you should be able to tell by looking at the reference table. That's why I had you get it out. There is a clue on that reference table which way the river is flowing. So I'm here, I heard some north, south, no, east, anybody got east? West, anybody? All right. How do you know the river is flowing north?
Because it says Niagara River going.
That's not it. It actually might be. I've never even looked at that. We'll have to look at all the other ones, but I don't think that's it.
Lake Erie elevation 175.
Which way do rivers flow? What can we always say about rivers?
They go up.
All rivers go down. I don't think you're funny. All rivers flow down. Guys, I know that this may have been some information that has been miscommunicated to you before. I can very confidently remember my 6th grade teacher telling me, or at least making it seem like to me, that all rivers flow south. But that can't be true. I think what he meant is all rivers flow down. Remember how I talked about it the first couple of days of school? My problem with up and south and north and down. Well, actually it'd be north and up and south and down being confused. I think he meant all rivers flow down, but I at least took away all rivers flow south. Maybe he didn't teach me wrong. He just kind of confused me. But I want you guys to erase any of that in your brain. All you can ever say is all rivers flow downhill. This, for the Niagara River, just like Trenton was saying, they flow downhill. The Lake Erie is 175 meters. Lake Ontario is 75 meters. So that means downhill is north on this map, or for the Niagara River. It's not true for every river. And in fact, we can only tell on this map which way the Niagara River is flowing. There is no indication for the Genesee River. Yes, I know it. Ontario is 75, but I have no idea what the elevation is at the other end of the Genesee River. I can't tell from this. So you would have to have a map that showed elevation to figure that out. But from this map, I can tell that Lake the Niagara River is flowing north. So now that you know that, let's make sure you guys have the, how to do the latitude and longitude in minutes of the Niagara River right here, the mouth where it touches Lake Ontario. So right now, do that last box on page 10. The mouth of the Niagara is where it touches Lake Ontario, not Niagara Falls. You still have to go a little bit more north of that to get to Lake Ontario. So go ahead. Now that we got that out of our system.
Yeah, no, you get all of them. We could do,
If anybody wants to grab a ruler, they're up front, or if you want to use a piece of paper. Yep, so we're just doing the mouth of the Niagara, latitude and longitude in minutes.
Yep.
And degrees in it. All right, I am gonna break out one that has lines on it for this. So we're talking about right there. Latitude first, always do the flat ones first. It's not on one of my red lines, so I know I'm gonna have to include minutes. What'd you guys say? So
42.9.
okay, so remember, we don't do decimals. And it's not at 42. 42 is down here. Were you looking at Buffalo again?
Oh, yeah. 43.
Okay, so here's the mouth of the Niagara, not even Niagara Falls. We're going more north than Niagara Falls, all the way up to where it empties into Lake Ontario. So on that number line, here would be the 0, here would be 60. This is your, all labs get turned in over there. Here's your halfway mark. So we are in between 43 and 44. So we are 43 degrees. How many minutes would you guys say that is?
I think so, too.
Oh, it can't be 60. 60 is way up here.
25. Oh,
Okay.
wait. I had 25 and then I changed it to 60.
Okay, so what I did, since I have them labeled over here, I have 0 and 60. I would bring a faint line over, preferably a straight one. And I say I'm about halfway between 0 and 30. So those of you who said 20 or 25, you're okay. But halfway is officially 15, but you're good. Now, what about longitude?
70.
Yeah, I can't deny it. It is right on the 79 line. Oh, well, it's definitely not 80. 80's not even on the map. You said 30 minutes? No, it's right on the line.
Oh.
Here. So you're getting your latitudes and your longitudes confused is what's happening. So latitude, you got to go this way. And longitude, that sucker's right on the 79 for me. That's it. Wrap it up. No homework.
Oh.